We are here today at the VFW Center in Westbury interviewing Robert Mort on May 12th at 3:30 by Michael Lucca, Blaise, Cumo, with the camera work done by Dan Macarone. Okay, first, what is your full name?
My full name is Robert E. Mort Sr.
Where and when were you born?
I was born in Philadelphia in 1921, December 6th.
Did you have any, what was your pre-service education?
Pre-service education was 2 years of high school.
Did you have an occupation before you went into the service?
I was a plumber's apprentice.
When did you enter service?
I entered the service in Philadelphia, 1940.
40, okay.
September, or August, I think, August 1940.
And you enlisted, correct?
I enlisted, yes.
What branch?
U.S. Army.
U.S. Army. Any particular reason for that, or any reason?
The reason was I couldn't find a job.
Okay. Where did you go for your basic training?
I went to Fort Langley Field, Virginia.
Okay. Do you have any experiences there? Any feelings on that?
No, not a lot of experiences, a lot of hardships and heartaches, but being away from home for the first time.
Right.
I was only 18 years old, and I went into a brand new outfit, excuse me, called the 21st Aviation Engineers. And luckily it was a brand new outfit, so I went up the ladder pretty fast. Kept going out on cadre from every couple of months and achieved the grade of first sergeant, and went overseas as first sergeant. Never saw combat. Or should I wait for the questions?
That's fine, that's fine. What were your dates of service? Dates of service?
September, I don't exactly know. In August of 1940, and I got out in September 1945.
Oh, okay.
So, or how would you rate the training that you had before you went into the service? Was
Basic training was learning carpentry, close order drill, rifle, submachine gun, 45 automatic firearms, and building buildings mostly. We were attached to the Air Force. We had to build all kinds of buildings for them until we got overseas. We also was taught how to build airfields, landing mats, portable landing mats, portable plank landing mats for the airplanes to land overseas, which we never used. Army stuff.
What kind of equipment were you given when you went?
We had all kinds of heavy equipment, bulldozers, graders, big trucks, 5-ton trucks, 1.5 tons, 2.5 ton trucks. We were very well equipped with transportation.
Could you give us in chronological order what experiences you had? You said you never saw combat, but what were you doing throughout the 5 years?
Well, we landed in North Africa in 1942, and from there we took over a supply depot, supplying all the other outfits with all kinds of material. We built a couple of landing mat runways, but never saw them used. And then moved on to Tunis and did practically the same thing all the way through. And then we went to Italy, and I ended up in the 5th Area Engineering Office in Rome for 19 months,
Wow.
which was beautiful.
Yeah.
Best part of the experience was Rome. And then I transferred out of there, went into the Signal Corps, and from there I was discharged on points, 5 years and 22 days in the service.
What medals did you receive while you?
It's in good conduct, American Defense, ETO, Theater Operations, European Theater Operations. Also, Marksman's Medal that I put down.
Right, right.
How did you said that you built landing mats and stuff. How did you feel that helped? How did you feel that helped the service? Like,
Well, the airplanes couldn't come in on muddy ground. We put these iron steel planks down all together, and then they landed on the steel planks so they didn't sink into the mud.
Right, right.
We also built revetments for the planes to go into, shield them from bombs that landed close by. And that was about all. I was mostly administration the last 2 years of my career.
Was your division ever attacked?
Pardon?
Was your division or group ever attacked?
No,
Never?
no.
Okay.
We had, in Tunis, we had German bombers coming over every night right over our camp, but they always went for the docks, not for us. But we did have a 55 caliber anti-aircraft gun that my boys were very trigger happy. They wanted to shoot at the airplanes. And I had a heck of a time
Right.
telling them not to fire those airplanes because they dropped one bomb and we were gone.
Right.
So I had to get special permission from the regimental commander for them to fire a couple of times during the day, keep their fingers off the trigger at night.
while you were in the military, how did you keep in touch with those at home?
V-mail, Army mail, they call it victory mail.
Right.
Was free post office, APO, and they sent letters when they caught up with us. We never knew where we were going to be, and we never knew when we were going to get mail. So we get dozen letters at a time, or none of it, for weeks. That's the only communication we had.
What was the food like while you?
Most of the time it was fair. It was digestible. Maybe not too tasty, but it was digestible. At one time we switched food with the British Army for 2 weeks and was glad to get back to the American food. Because theirs was terrible.
What was some of the stuff they had?
Kidney steak and kidney pie or whatever, I don't know. Half of us had to slip into town and get a sandwich or something.
Did you interact a lot with the British Army or any other army?
Not interact with them. No, we had some friends that would come over at night for a drink, or
Right.
if they get out of their camp. But we had not too close a friendship with them. They hated us.
Didn't it? Oh.
They hated us because we were well paid.
Right.
They weren't. And if we went to town, we'd go to a barber shop and get our hair cut and throw the barber a 100-franc note, which
Right.
was at that time $1.50.
Right.
Those poor guys would go in and they could only afford 10 francs. You know? So the barbers didn't want them to come in. They wanted all the Americans to come in with haircuts. But that was about it. No real quarrels.
Right. Right.
Not too close either.
What do you think was your most memorable experience of the?
My most memorable experience was one night in Tunis. My company commander came to me in the evening and says, "Sergeant, get a Jeep. I want to go to the port facilities." I said, "Why?" He said, "I want to see an air raid." I said, "Fine." So I got the Jeep and we started for the port area. Just before we got there, he said, "Pull over, Sergeant." I pulled over and stopped, and he loaded his .45. What he was going to do with it, I don't know. Put it back in his holster. All right. Fortunately, that's the first night the Germans didn't come over. And I was happy to get back. By the time we got back to camp, the planes were going over to the port area.
Right.
So we were lucky. That was my mom. I'll never forget that as long as I live. He's going to shoot down an airplane with .45. I never fired a shot at an enemy and never had a shot fired at me. So I was very lucky.
Did you have any reactions to the presidency of Roosevelt? How he got elected 4 times, or
No,
wasn't
no,
a big?
I wasn't. I was apolitical anyway.
Right.
At that time, I couldn't even vote. So.
True.
I think he did the right thing.
Yeah.
How were your interactions with like the population of like Italy when you were there? And
Very well, yeah. But we were in a more civilized area, you know, in a city most of the time. We got along well.
Did
I had civilians working under me, interpreters in the office. They were okay, no problems.
Did Rome look any ravaged, beat down
No.
from the war? No.
No. My only regret is I never got to the Vatican because I wasn't Catholic at the time.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't interest me. Now I'm regretting it. Been regretting it for years since I turned Catholic. I was right there. Why didn't I go? But it never entered my mind to get there at that time.
so when you got back out of the service, what did you do? Like when you got out of the service, where did you go from the service? Like
I stayed in Westbury. I lived with my wife. I met my wife before I went overseas. She was from Westbury. And when I got out and discharged, we talked it over where we were going to live, Westbury or Philadelphia, and I capitulated. We're living in Westbury. There was never any, her choice was never Philadelphia. So we stayed in Westbury.
Did you go back to Did you go back into an occupation right away? Did you get a job like right after you came out?
I went to work the first week after I got out of the service as a plumber. Yeah, in Westbury.
Going back to Rome just for a second, when you would associate with the population there, would they express any displeasure with the Nazis or the fascists, or what would they?
Well, if you spoke to them at all about that, yeah, they didn't like the Germans.
Right.
They didn't like Mussolini. They didn't like anybody except the Americans. At that time, we were supporting them, so they didn't like us.
Yeah.
I saw most of the sites in Rome. I was right around the corner from the Villa Vittoria monument,
Oh, okay.
and also right around the other corner from where Mussolini made his speeches.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, from the balcony.
Yeah.
I had an office right down the street from there.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. You belong to the VFW, right?
I belong to the VFW.
Is there any other?
I've been for 15 years.
15?
Yeah. Couldn't afford it before that.
Gotcha. Is there any other organizations you belong to? Any veterans organizations yourselves? No. Okay. Have you attended any reunions with your men or any other?
No, my outfit broke up. As 21st Aviation Engineers, they disbanded, and it was spread all over the place. I did get a list at one time from the retirees, but I didn't recognize any of the names, so I didn't go.
So did you make any friends in the service that you kept like out once you got back, or?
No, none from the service.
Have you seen any World War II movies that struck a chord in you, or you have any reaction to, like Saving Private Ryan? Any of those movies? You haven't seen them?
I watch very little movies. No, I never go to a movie.
Have you read any books on World War II?
I read books, yeah, I'm a pretty good reader, but some of it is true and some of it is a little far-fetched, but
Right.
all in all, they're good reading, but you can't believe everything you read in them.
That's right.
How do you think your military service like influenced your life? Like, did it have any great impact on it?
No, I don't think they had much influence on my life at all.
It was just like a time from.
In fact, after my wife died, 3.5 years, I started going with a lady who was German, right here in Westbury. Never never mentioned anything about the war or anything else. You know, so.
Would you mind giving us a tour of the wall over here?
I think the commander can do better at that than I can.
Could you?
He's
Just,
more familiar with it.
You ready?
Let's, yeah, just, can you explain some stuff that we're seeing over here?
Here, as you see the top line, you have all the canteens that the fellows, whether you're in the Army, Navy, Marines, or what you were,
Right.
you carried one of them, one type or another. You see there's all 3 or 4 different types.
Yes.
You have your phones, one on one side, one on the other there. These were field phones. And you better have one of those
Right.
if you wanted to stay alive. Okay? You see the projectiles that you had here? Some are fired by the tube or by a rifle. The 2 lower ones are rifle grenades. You also have your hand grenades. They're naturally all dismantled. You couldn't blow anything with those today. All these, the ammunition that you see strung here, at one time that was all live ammo. Now we use them for parades and so on. Along with all the rifles that you see at M1s and O3s,
Okay.
and you have a couple of grands in there also. The O3 was one of the most efficient rifles that we had in the service. Regardless of what service it was,
Right.
you could pinpoint, I hate to use the word, but to kill someone at 300 yards, you could part his hair.
Right.
And I don't say that literally, that's a rifle.
Mhm.
That's one of the best that we ever had in the service. Even till today, with all your modern equipment, that's the baby. We don't like to talk about them, but that's the way it is. At the left here, you see your bazookas, which that top projectile
Right.
is fired from. This particular type is what we use. It's a one-time shot. You put your projectile in it, fire it, throw it away. The other type that they have, which is twice that size, is you can repeat and repeat and repeat. Naturally, as long as you have the projectile to do it. That rifle that you see there happens to be a Russian rifle. We were given a gift, thank God. We like to collect also, because you just can't get them. That bugle that you see there, that was from World War I.
Oh.
That's long before my time. And of course, what you see up above is bayonets. And if you see that one bayonet head which has the knuckles on it,
Right.
okay, that was used in World War I.
Okay.
They outlawed that for World War II. We used the ones to the right. They were bayonets. The two short swords you see there, they were the Japanese swords. Harikari. If you don't know anything about harikari, the Japanese didn't, in other ways, they had certain beliefs. If they didn't follow their beliefs, they just ripped themselves open. That was the idea. That was their belief. To me, I think it was very foolish, but then of course, I'm not going to rip my stomach open for nobody. You know, that's, you know, first of all, it's against our religion to commit suicide anyway.
Right,
All right? Okay. As you see these medallions, everyone, that's all the services, Navy, Army, so on and so forth. This we were given by one of our congressmen, Dan Friese, presented us with that, along with a few of the things that we have upstairs, you know. And of course, going down to Coast Guard, the Air Force, and of course, the great outfit, the Seabees, Navy. That was my outfit. Naturally, I had to stick that in there also. And then you have the medals of some of the gentlemen that have passed away. Their families were kind enough to give us their medals, which we have more to put up. We are in the middle of a little construction right now, so that's why you see a little disarray here, you know.
Do you know which any of those medals?
Well, of course, you see what you see in the paper today, and some of these fellows that are getting shot. George Washington, right there is on our Purple Heart.
Right.
You got the star, Silver Star. I'd have to look them all up myself. There's so many of them. I got a few of them on my hat also. But we have a complete list right up there above me.
Okay.
You can take a shot at that also if you wish. But that more or less explains everything. Then we have some of the paperback money and the coins that we used. And that's it, Jim, as far as, we don't have any machine guns because you're not allowed any. You know. Did you take a shot at the weapon outside?
No.
Right in front of the building, directly across from here. You can take a shot of that also. That was a World War II piece. That did quite a bit of damage in its day. Right now, some of the clientele that we have in the area, they do a good job on it. Every once in a while we have to repaint it, you know. But that goes with the territory.
All right. Thank you for your time. Very
You want to know
informative.
what these are?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Starting in that corner there, you have, Bob, which one is that? I know some of them up there. Which one is that there? Is that Paul's uniform?
This is Army.
Army Major.
Okay.
That was one of our men who are no longer with us now. He's in
This is
Pennsylvania.
Army, this is, I see dress uniform, that's Army sizes.
That was an officer's uniform to the right. And this was one of Bob's uniforms right there. And then you have Navy, you have the Marines, and you have a couple others also Navy uniforms here. Some of the fellows turned them into us. Chief Petty Officer in the Navy. And we have a couple of flags here. You know.